Morning, everybody. Kat here. Welcome to my channel. Well, so just a few days ago on Sunday, we've seen Family Guy now parroting Meghan and Harry in a short bit, a little section of the episode. And here's what's happening. You know, a lot of us welcomed that and said, oh my gosh, this is hilarious. Live for this kind of stuff. This is what's happening. They're starting to be seen for what they really are, and they're being parodied because, you know, their life is a cartoon anyway. Nothing's real. We've had Spotify officials calling them effing grifters. We've had people that have worked for them. You know, we've had people that are, supposedly they're associated with. Kevin Costner, you know, when they attended that charity function of his, they basically paid to attend. And then, you know, she grabs the microphone, tries to make it all about her. Everybody knows that these are the kind of people that they are. They are grifters. They are opportunists. They'll take advantage of anybody. They're hypocrites. I mean, look at all these things. You know, they're so worried about mental health and the internet and scared for their children, and it's all about the family. Families of which neither one of them communicate with either of their families. As far as their children go, we don't even know if there are children. Let's be honest. From day one, there's not a photo that they've put out that hasn't been Photoshopped, altered, proven to use other people's children in a couple of cases. We know this. There's never been an authentic picture of their children. And I mean, if I were to be pressured now, like I kind of waver between there's no children and it's all a big scam, to perhaps I'm thinking, anyway, in the case of Archie, that there had been perhaps a surrogate situation and for some reason fell through. Perhaps they never got custody of the child, but they can, I don't know, have some kind of a deal to borrow him now and again. Maybe, I don't. Every scenario is so ridiculous that you'd almost believe anything, but I don't believe that they have children living in the house with them. Whatever the case may be, and the status of perhaps a surrogate child or not, or they've just made everything up. The birth certificates, you know, for each one of them, there's 3 or 4 versions and hospitals and stories, and, you know, they're not even consistent in their made-up story or their lie or what they're trying to project to the public. And you know what? It's almost like they don't care. Like they're beyond reproach. And in a lot of ways, they are, simply because of the fact that Harry is a member of the royal family. And I've said before, even though they've opted out, and no matter what they've said, there's always going to be a tie there, and I think there's always going to be a level of protection from the palace for whatever reason. Is it blackmail? Is it because if you let this out, you let a whole lot more secrets out that they don't want out? Is it to try to forestall Harry from saying anything more? We don't know. But there's a lot of things going on in the background we don't understand. But I do believe that no matter what the story is on this, that they are still being protected, which is like so important, and the reason why so many of us are talking about them, and it's starting to hit the public perception. I mean, 3 years ago, whatever, most Americans didn't know who the heck they were and cared even less because they're unimportant, inconsequential people. no matter how much they try to talk it up. So this is why Family Guy coming out, and we're all kind of going, yay, you know, they're parroting them, and this will reach a wider audience, and more people will get it, you know, about Harry and Meghan, because they're watching the show. More people will get it, spreading the word, and this is, you know, what we want, like, to kind of expose these two. But now you have to also consider who's behind Family Guy. That's Seth MacFarlane. Who represents Seth MacFarlane? WME, William Morris Endeavors, the same people that represent Meghan Markle. And we've seen this before in where she's been put in public situations at this concert or that event, and it's surrounded by other celebrities that also happen to be William Morris, have William Morris representing them. So how much of it is, okay, Seth, you put him in the show, this is, you know, because there's something to be said for the anti-publicity is good publicity. And, you know, if you make it on to Family Guy, that means you're somebody for them to notice you. There is that. And the fact that both of them belong to William Morris. This could be one of those setup kind of situations, you know, this will give them some publicity, this will give your ratings a boost. It's a win-win for everybody. Or it could be the case of Seth MacFarlane just making the corporate decision to include them in an episode of the show because of the way he feels about them. I tend to think that this is a setup by William Morris, and I'll tell you why. Because if it was Seth MacFarlane and he really wanted to parody them and take the piss out of them, as the Brits say, he would have devoted a whole episode, the way South Park did. He would have devoted a whole episode to them. They were just almost a cameo cartoon, couple of minutes of the whole show. It wasn't. So that leads me to believe that this was obligatory, that maybe he was asked to, paid for, to include them in an episode. That's what I think. And I mean, you know what? That's Hollywood. That's business. That's publicity. That's the name of the game. That's how that all works. And the agencies have been acting like that since, you know, movies and TV and all that began. They would put their clients together to create stories, to create gossip and chatter and promote, you know, what they had to promote. So for me, I tend to think that this was a publicity stunt more than Seth MacFarlane's comic genius and insight and trying to put a message out there. That's just what I'm thinking, you know. And if it is, well, you know, good for William Morris. They are trying. You can't put lipstick on a pig. Well, you can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig. You know, it's like Harry and Meghan are not well liked by anybody. They're losing ground daily. People don't like their attitude, the things they tell us. They stand for, you know, internet safety, children and families. They care about the planet and climate change. Their whole lives are an example of hypocrisy of everything they say they stand for. People can suss that out. People can recognize that in other people. Like, you're a phony, you're a fraud, you're just ridiculous. You're a parody of yourself. She's like a South Park or a Family Guy cartoon. That's what they've been reduced to, and in the public's eye, that's what's happening. And really, you know, they've been compared, and I've compared with the time loop stuff back a while ago with the Duke and Duchess of Windsor, Edward and Wallace. Now, it kind of went the same way. There for a while, they were feted and engaged with by the hoi polloi, the you know, the elites of society in New York and Paris, and because he had been a king. You know, Harry's not even going to be anything more than the spare. Edward had been a king and lost it all for Wallace. Well, and if you look at their relationship, after a few years, they were really treated with, you know, they were like treated like a joke, like a parody of themselves. Like, yeah, you might be royal, but wow, no, you know, people, they always did have a few hangers-on and a few supporters throughout their life, and I think the same thing will happen to Harry and Meghan. They'll always have a certain amount of supporters, but the rest of the world will see them as they are and not give them any, you know, not give them the time of day, and over time they become irrelevant. And this is what's happening with Harry and Meghan. It's happening even quicker than we thought. Now, you know, there's rumors that their marriage is in trouble. Well, I don't think it was, you know, a proper marriage, a sincere marriage from the beginning, so I'm not surprised if there's trouble in paradise, you know. I don't think either one of them want to be there. We know that Harry, well, the rumor is that Harry is looking for residence in London. So, and on his own, like in his name only. Well, we all have to wait and see. We don't know how much of this is rumor, how much is really going on. These are things that we have to watch and wait and see, because there's implications of all kinds to where he's living and what he's doing and what that allows him, and so on and so forth. There's the Counselor of State status. There's tax issues. There's their marital status. There's him ever reconciling with the royal family. Like, the implications of him getting a place in London on his own are huge. And so, you know, it's an ongoing story. Like I said, I don't know how many times, they're the gift that keeps on giving, because it's always something with those two. We've heard that Meghan is writing her memoir. We've also heard that 3 or 4 manuscripts already, drafts, have been rejected. We don't know why, but, you know, considering the bench and their, you know, Spotify, and you can understand why her work may be considered subpar. I'm not surprised. So we have to wait and see if that happens. What is she going to do? She's been shot down. Governor Newsom and apparently Hillary Clinton blocked her bid to move into California politics. So there's some heavy hitters that don't want anything to do with her. I mean, heavy hitters in Spotify. People like, you know, Hillary Clinton, Governor Newsom, Oprah, all these bigwigs that she's tried to foster relationships with, oh, she had chicken salad with Hillary Clinton. Well, we discovered that was all a lie. She made that up. Or Michelle Obama, whoever the hell it was. They're all lies. We know this. But she kind of works on the attitude of, if I say it enough, they're not going to say no, or they're not going to refute it, because that would be embarrassing and make them look bad. This is how she thinks. This is how she uses people. But, people in those kind of positions didn't get there by being stepped on. So they're now stepping up and not taking it from her anymore. And I think we're really seeing the dismantling of her public persona that she has tried to build. Anti-Lawyer seems to think that in November she'll be relaunching a social media thing like the TIG, to try to get sponsorships and money that way. But, what a fall from grace. She kind of slept her way to the top and became a princess of the United Kingdom, but she's throwing it all away to be an Instagram influencer. I mean, how stupid can you be? How stupid can you be? And Harry's just as bad. I mean, he's caught up in all of this. He wants everything his way, and he still wants, all the privileges that his position afforded him. You can't have it all, baby. And they're discovering that to their own cost. I mean, both of their reputations are in the toilet. It's just all downhill from here, folks. And as the spiral quickens, we may actually get some answers to some of the questions. Some of that information might come trickling out. So we have to wait and see what happens. As usual, have a great day. Hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe, hit that notification button. And if you'd like to support me, there's a link to buy me a coffee in the description. Bye for now.